Let's review what we learned in tutorial 1. We'll begin in child's pose. Take a moment to make sure that your toes are touching, knees are wide apart, arms are out in front of you on the mat. Take a few breaths here to integrate yourself with your mat and come to the present moment, connecting your breath with your body. Notice the sensations that your body is feeling this time. A little bit more familiar than the first time, perhaps. From child's pose, tuck your toes underneath. Make sure your hands are pressed into the mat in front of you. Lift your hips high to the sky for downward facing dog. From here, take a moment to think about your alignment. Pressing your hips high, pressing your thighs back towards the back wall, driving your heels down in towards the mat. Fingertips are in front of you, spread wide apart, pressing into your index fingers, thumbs, and the space in between. Allow your eyes to gaze in one spot, maybe between your legs or at your feet. Draw your shoulders away from your ears, tracking it down your spine, melting your heart a little bit further towards the mat. On your inhalation, press your thighs back. Deep breathe, bend your knees, look forward towards your hands, and walk, jump, or float. Keeping your feet at hip distance apart, we'll take ragdoll pose. Grab the outsides of your biceps or your elbows and hang here, making sure that your weight is on the balls of your feet, your hips are stacked directly over your ankles, and that you have a nice bend in your knees as much as you need to. Release your head so that your crown is facing the floor. Shake your head yes and no here. Maybe you want to sway from side to side, making sure that your upper body is completely relaxed and surrendered here. Take one more inhale. Exhale to release and let go of the arms. Bend your knees slightly and unravel one vertebrae at a time, slowly coming to standing in Samasthiti. Remembering to stack your shoulders over your hips, over your knees, over your ankles in this pose. Draw your shoulders back, open your chest, stand tall and proud. Your gaze should be directly in front of you. Hands are active by your side, either palms facing down, facing your body, or facing forward. We'll move into Sun Salutation A. On your inhale, flip your palms up and sweep your arms up from the sides all the way until they are shoulder distance apart overhead. Turn your gaze up towards your fingertips. Inhale. And as you exhale, swan dive forward, leading with your heart. Grabbing either your shins or ankles as you fold here. Take a halfway lift on your inhalation. As you exhale, place your hands on the mat and step back to high plank, either on your knees or on your toes. Take one more inhale, and as you exhale, lower down through Chaturanga Dandasana to begin our Vinyasa flow. Inhale to low cobra or upward facing dog. And then exhale back to downward facing dog, either coming through the knees or over tops of the feet. Take 5 deep breaths here. During your breath, think about your alignment. Think about your connection to the mat with your hands and your feet. Pressing your hips high to the sky, your heart towards the earth. On your next inhale, look forward, bend the knees, and exhale as you hop, float, or walk towards your hands. Inhale, take a halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, sweep your arms over the sides, coming back up to Tadasana. Bring your hands back down by your side for Samasthiti. We'll take one more round together. Inhale, circle sweep arms up, palms touch. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come to a halfway lift. Exhale, place your palms on the mat, step back to high plank, and flow through your vinyasa. High to low push-up, upward facing dog or low cobra, and back to downward facing dog. Take 5 deep and beautiful breaths here. On your inhale, press your thighs backwards, bend your knees, look forward, and exhale to jump, float, or walk towards your hands. Inhale, come to halfway lift, and exhale to fold. Inhale, sweep your arms by your sides all the way up, and exhale, bring your hands back down by your sides in Samasthiti. We now move into Sun Salutation B. Sun Salutation B continues to build the internal heat, and much of this vinyasa is the same as Sun Salutation A with a few new poses included. So Thunderbolt is also widely known as chair pose, Utkatasana. It translates to powerful, much like a thunderbolt. This is a very dynamic pose that increases the heart rate and stimulates the circulatory and metabolic systems. From Samasthiti, inhale as you bend your knees deeply to 90 degrees and bring your arms up alongside by your ears, shoulders away from the ears. Arms are shoulder width apart, palms face each other. This is like you're sitting in a chair. Make sure that your feet are close enough to where your knees can also press towards each other. Squat down again as if you're sitting in a chair, bringing your hips and tails slightly back. Dip your hips low and press your heart high. Spread your shoulder blades apart. Pull your fingers towards the sky, up and out of the knuckles. Spin your pinky fingers in towards each other, rotating your thumbs outward. Gently lift your chin and look up through your hands. Hold for 5 breaths. While you're holding, the alignment cues are to lift your toes and shift the majority of your weight into your heels. Keep your hips and tails slightly back. Drop your hips and lift your heart and hands. I like to do this with the breath, where with every inhale I lift the heart, exhale, lower the seat a little bit more. Spin your arms so that your little fingers move in and your thumbs move out. Spread your scapula to broaden your upper back. And as we connect the vinyasa here, after the 5th breath of Thunderbolt or chair pose, you're going to lower your hips 2 more inches for an additional breath, which everybody loves, and then exhale as you hinge forward. Wait until your hands reach the mat or your ankles, whichever you can reach, and then straighten your legs, coming to a forward fold. From here, we'll go through the same steps as Sun Salutation A. So inhale, take a halfway lift. Exhale, go to high push-up, and then low push-up. Move through upward facing dog, or modified as low cobra, and then end in downward facing dog. From here, we'll move to Warrior One. Warrior One is a very dynamic pose. It creates a powerful integration of leg strength and fluid flexibility of the hips. It also prepares the body for back bends later in the practice. From downward facing dog, exhale and lunge your right foot forward towards your right hand, bending your front knee to a 90 degree. Spin your back foot flat to a 45 or 60 degree angle with your heel in one line. On the in-breath, sweep your hands up over your head on either side of your ears, just like in Thunderbolt or chair pose. Face your palms towards each other with the little fingers spinning in and the thumbs spinning out. Take powerful aim and fuse your eyes to one point in front of you. While you hold this, the alignment cues are to make sure that you keep your heels in one line. Lift the inner ankle of the back foot and press it into the outer edge. Dip your front leg down to 90 degrees so that the thigh and shin form a right angle. Square your hips, pulling your right hip back and your left hip forward. It also helps to squeeze your inner thighs together here. Scoop your tailbone down and forward. Rotate both thigh bones in a clockwise direction. Reach your heart and arms to the sky. If this is tight on your low back, you can bring your hands, palms pressed together towards your heart center. From Warrior One, you want to place your hands on your mat on either side of your foot. So we're going to swoop our hands all the way down towards the front of the mat and step back to high push-up. Again, this can be done on the toes or the knees, and we continue through our Vinyasa A. High to low push-up as you exhale. Low cobra or upward facing dog as you inhale, and then back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, step your left foot forward and spin your right foot flat onto the mat for Warrior One on the opposite leg. Take a nice inhale. Again, keep your heels in one line, lift the inner ankle of the back foot and press it into the outer edge. Make sure your hips are squared to the front, pulling your left hip back this time and your right hip forward. Try to keep that same 90-degree in that front knee. Scoop your tailbone down and forward, rotate those thigh bones in a clockwise direction, and reach your heart and arms skyward. From here, take one more inhale, float your hands back down to your mat, step back to high plank or high push-up, move through low push-up as you exhale, upward facing dog or low cobra as you inhale, downward facing dog as you exhale. Once you've done both sides, then we take 5 deep breaths in downward facing dog. On the last breath in downward facing dog, exhale completely and move forward, either with your jump or walking. With your feet firmly on the mat, bend your knees and sweep your hands back up into thunderbolt or chair pose. Hold chair pose for another 5 breaths. Take another inhale wherever you're at, and forward fold. From here, we would begin another Sun Salutation B. Take an inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step back to high push-up, high to low push-up as you exhale, low cobra or upward facing dog as you inhale, and then back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, take an inhale. On your exhale, use your right foot to lunge forward, making that 90-degree bend in the front again. Turn the back foot. If it's not already there, make sure that your arms are high to the sky, your gaze is forward, hips are squared. Again, if this is tight on your low back, bring your hands to heart center. After holding it for a few breaths, we'll take another inhale together. Exhale as we float our hands back down to the mat. Flow through your Vinyasa A, high to low push-up as you exhale, low cobra or upward facing dog as you inhale, and back to downward facing dog. Take another inhale here, and as you exhale, bring your left foot forward for Warrior One on the left side. Inhale deeply. Going through the same alignment cues, making sure your hips are squared, heart is open, arms are lifted, back foot is flat on the mat. You got this. We'll take another inhale. Exhale as you float your hands back down to the mat. Move to high push-up. On your next exhale, go high to low push-up, low cobra or upward facing dog, and then back to downward facing dog for 5 more breaths. For the sake of this tutorial, we're just going to move forward, making sure that you take another inhale here, and as you exhale, completely jump or walk forward. With your feet firmly on the mat, bend your knees and sweep up back to thunderbolt or chair pose. Take one more breath in and exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold again. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way up, standing tall, looking up. Exhale, bring your hands down by your side. Let's take a cleansing breath together. In through the nose and out through the mouth. AJ. The next pose we're going to learn is Warrior Two. Warrior Two is an excellent hip opening pose that sculpts the muscles of the buns and thighs. Beyond the physical, it hones your power of concentration. Through your focused gaze, it teaches you how to streamline your power, energetically bringing your mind from distraction to direction. From Warrior One, square your hips and chest to the side wall and open your arms out to the side at shoulder height so that they're over your thighs, palms facing down. Gaze strongly and steadily at the middle fingernail of your right hand. Hold for 5 breaths. While you're holding, think about if you're pressing through the outer edge of your back foot. If not, lift your arch and press into the outer edge of your back foot. Try stretching the mat apart with your feet. Stack the front knee over the ankle in a vertical line. Dip your hips down so that your front thigh is parallel to the floor. Rotate your inner thighs out and away from each other. Lift your belly and spine and chest. Stack your shoulders over your hips. Drop your shoulder blades down your back. Reach through both arms and fingertips as if you're being pulled apart. We'll now move on to Reverse Warrior. Reverse Warrior maintains the strong base of Warrior Two and introduces a side bend into the body. The extension on the front side of the torso is a great counterpose to your downward dogs. From Warrior Two, drop your back arm down your back leg, spin your front palm up to face the ceiling, and lift your front arm up to the sky, bending back slightly but not moving your legs. Gaze high up towards your hand. The alignment for Reverse Warrior is the same as Warrior Two, with the addition of rolling your knee out towards the outer left toe or outer right toe, depending on which foot is in front. We'll now connect our vinyasa. Take your final breath in this Reverse Warrior. As you exhale, bring your front palm back to Warrior Two. Helicopter your arms down and step back to high push-up or high plank, and go through your vinyasa. High to low push-up, low cobra or upward facing dog, back to downward facing dog. From here, instead of those 5 breaths that we usually take, we're going to go immediately into the same sequence on the opposite side. So step your left foot forward into Warrior One, open up to Warrior Two, and then reverse your warrior. After your 5th breath here, we'll go back through the vinyasa again. Taking a final inhale. As you exhale, bring your front arm back to Warrior Two. Helicopter your arms back down into high push-up or high plank, and flow through your vinyasa. High to low push-up, low cobra or upward facing dog, and then back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, drop your knees to the floor, lift your feet, cross your ankles, and roll over your feet back towards your seat in preparation for the next pose, boat pose. Navasana, boat pose, is a core strengthening pose that creates whole body integration and balance. Abdominal work is key to any healthy yoga practice because strong abdominals take unnecessary pressure off your low back. Building core muscles creates an inner strength and stability that gives you a deeper seat of power and balance throughout your body. So from the seated position, extend your legs straight to a 45-degree angle as you reach your arms forward parallel to the floor. Contract your abdominal wall and lift your sternum. Gaze forward and breathe. To modify, you can either bend your knees slightly or work with one foot on the floor if lifting both of your legs feels too strenuous. You can also keep your hands on the floor as you extend your legs straight to maintain balance. The alignment cues here are to balance on your tail and sitting bones. Use your core power to raise your legs and torso. keep your lower back as straight as possible. Avoid rounding or overarching. Press your inner thighs together. Activate your feet by pointing your toes. Draw your sternum up to the sky and reach your arms forward to activate your hands. After the 5th breath in boat pose, we'll connect our vinyasa. So bend your knees and cross your feet in front of you. Place your hands down on the mat in front of your knees. Roll forward, and if you can, lift your whole body off the floor for 1 breath. Come down and repeat the sequence of boat pose to the cross and lift 4 times, ending in the seated position with the soles of your feet on the floor and your knees bent.